very familiar for Evolution. And as much as I think, you know, we talk about teams and not showing something, I think especially with the teams that are looking to qualify, teams that are looking to survive, you just want your comfort picks. Like, you want to be comfortable, you want to be confident, and it does feel like, just based on the map set series, Evolution is going to be feeling that way.
Sometimes you also want, like, maybe a little bit of risk-taking to be happening too, right? But for the side of Teddy Tactics, this is immediate set play for Kestrel to find the opening pick here over in Tiles.
Oranges also following up this little crossfire setup at mid, just to make sure that that punishing play for Kestrel does not get responded to, and then Nova having a tough time locking down the right clicks with a double play through Teddy Tactics. So opening pistol round looking very comfortable here, as Evolution will be stuck really in spawn right now. Arthro's out. Nice opener. Logic is low. Should be able to just right click this. Yeah, I don't think we needed the paranoia, but not able to confirm how much damage had been dealt means that you do spend a very expensive piece of utility for the rest of this 2v3.
Gotta go. That's very true. Numbers advantage though, and Gabby is stuck in that corner on the right side. It's going to be telegraphed alongside that camera that gets taken out right off the gate too, but at the very least, it's a nice smoke to at least give that cross in and lurk up and try and isolate a fight.
Yeah, you got fault line and salvos. Flashing salvos right here.
One enemy remaining.
Nice from Nora for the first. And Kestrel will have the first and the last in the round. And trap play works. Fault line hits perfectly over towards Arcade. Beautiful stuff for Teddy Tactics to get the aggression underway. Find a very clean pistol. And now you're into your anti-eco, where we'll see Evolution not be getting a plant nor many eliminations. It's just going to go into one share.
Yeah, not even just the mid-trap play. There was, like, the deep wall that they had set up from Logic as well over towards B main to try and isolate some of those fights. So really cool ideas that we're starting to see from Teddy Tactics right off the gate on that pistol round. And I think as this matchup goes further as well, I'm going to be interested to see how EVO does eventually deal with that Vice wall. They do have Nova on that Yoru. That's such a key component. And with the clone trying to take that piece of utility out early.
Just a full push down. Sabos do a little bit of damage to Aria on the way in, but everything's fine. Counter peek with Sabos up their own. And that's just a really nice headshot from Aria. And that will push everything right back. Defense will back up, reclaim the rest of the map that they have voluntarily given away, and just run with their 5v4 weapon advantage through the rest of this round, you would think. In Logic, what do you have to stop this besides the wall? We'll see. Here comes the contact. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, right down.
Spike down, B.
Yeah, that's a tough look there. And now that's the rest of the team looking to flood on into that site. And then the flawless round to come out here on the side of Teddy Tactics. So nicely done so far. Overall, I believe that is an iBUYPOWER flawless at that. But looking confident right now. This is where it really starts to get interesting, though, once we have those guns in hand.
Yep. And again, it's one of those situations, again, looking at how the game had gone with Catnappers, 9 offensive rounds. So whatever they were working with was very successful. It just comes down to what Teddy Tactics has been able to see and how they're going to counter it. Looks like they want to continue to play with trap setups with Kestrel, but does get revealed by the spy cam, so no early antics here. EVO going to take a bit of a pause, as Teddy still want to try to continue to put pressure onto the extremities of the map, this time by way of flashing and stealth droning in. Good evasion, though, from Nova. Gate crash puts you right back to where you would have been, putting you a little bit further back, but the suppression doesn't make a difference when you've got that space, and it will be a 5v4 advantage for Evolution.
Now just the contact up over towards A. We swap the setup here on the side of Teddy Tactics as well. Over the last 2 rounds, Logic was postured over towards that B site. Just a little quick count, surely, to get all over the wall at the same time. Maybe just seeing if any other additional util will get drawn out early on.
I like this. Here we go. Here we go. With a boom bot. Logic will catch one, but nothing more. Site cleared. Gabby responsible for the elbow play. Trap wire. Cyber cage down. Nova's lurk works out. Quick swap to Gabby's POV for another.
Spike planted.
And Kestrel. Hero rifle. Decision to be made here. 1v4, especially now that they've been revealed and Yeah. Really good offensive look here for Evolution. Shutdown comes through, and this is going to be a quote-unquote bonus, Ash, but you're going to have 4 full rifles with essentially full armors as well. This is going to be a significant round coming back here for Evolution, considering they only had to have 1 repurchase. So you shut down the bonus, but you do it flawlessly, and Evolution's bank account is going up.
Oh, it definitely is. Feeling pretty comfortable in that regard. That's what they want when they're looking to try and tie things up here 2-2 as well. You also have to keep your eyes on the Steel Garden here for Logic, though, into this round, being a big part of maybe some success that Teddy Tactics will be able to find. They've been doing really well with those trap plays, like we had talked about previously, and some early information searching already from mid. You got the arc rows being thrown out, you get a little bit of that info, and then the immediate pullback to start getting that recharge down so it can get repositioned.
But the thing about this is it's info for info, because the spy cam at mid continues to just throw out darts. Orange is revealed by that. Also a secondary shot comes through on the crossfire. Kestrel's weak and will be dealt with on the long range angle from Gabby. First blood. Oh, and Arya's in trouble. Does get suppressed paranoia out, but you're right. Absolutely able to jump back into safety. Orb going to be collected. And now the dissection of the site starts to come underway with Orange is blocked out by the dark cover. Arya trapped but finds one. Not bad. But look at the lord from Gabby. Oh, and now you can just wait for this. You can set up the crossfire. And yep, there's just nothing you can do from there if you're Teddy.
Just taking the time there too, and the Logic even trying to look for maybe some sort of reflank, but the expectation going to be a save considering the economics on the side of Teddy Tactics right now. They don't have the money that they can work with. This weapon could be that difference maker, especially with that Steel Garden into the next round too. But overall, it was a really nice game plan there from Evolution. I think we saw, we had the initial questions of, okay, how early are we going to see Nova going for some of that info and trying to deny value from that Vice wall early on? And it works out well. Like, they take that out with the clone over towards that B site. I'm very surprised that Logic doesn't opt for the save there, but you know, who am I to make that call? But it does draw that presence away from A, right? You see those rotations being pulled. Sure, they lean over towards that A site, but the anchor in Logic is forced to stay at B. Can't quite make that call to take that rotation either, and it's a nice slow default that we saw from Evolution that round.
I think the thing too about this is, like, now you've got back-to-back rounds where Teddy Tactics have not found value on these mid traps that they started with. Do you try for something different here? Salvos block off any aggression through B main. Dark cover to replace that from the defense. And Nova with the Outlaw will just kind of wait here for a little bit. So, yeah, it's just, I like this adjustment from Teddy Tactics. Granted, they kind of have to because you're on Stingers and a Bucky and a Sheriff. But that is going to be, I think, the interesting point. It's like Evolution have now won out the battle at mid convincingly twice. And it's going to really call onto this defense to mold and modify based on what we saw in the first 2 rounds.
Alrighty, see, that mid information is like a constant condition here for Teddy Tactics. It's something that they like to protocol really nicely into the mid round just to get a little bit more of a read on what that positioning might look like. And they do know now that that Vice wall is not set up over towards.
Yep. But the dark cover replacement continues to just keep Nova interested. That fades away. Look at Teddy Tactics. They're going to gamble this is a B hit.
30
and it very well may be.
Like, that's the respect that they're giving to Logic's Vice setup there as well once that Arc Rose was revealed.
Love this.
Oh, there's no time for this, though.
No.
Like, they're going to see 4 people on site.
And this comes down to did they see Arya and Kestrel?
Nice salvos.
Salvos are going to push them back. But everyone's still alive. That's the issue. Shot from Nova, misses the first, gets the second. Pistol out, actually hits the headshot. But you gotta go. 5 seconds on the clock here. You still need to get on the site. Kestrel with the shutdown. 1v2 situation. No time. And yeah, the dimensional drift, if you're gonna play that through a dark cover, we gotta make that commitment to go sooner than that.
The problem with the commitment that they're trying to find, though, is that you saw, okay, yeah, you got a crossfire set up over towards B main. What do? They throw out those salvos to try and clear that crossfire, but then those salvos also mean that nobody can follow up on the space that Nova was making, and time was ticking at that point. I'm surprised that in an eco round for the side of Teddy Tactics, that Evolution gave that sort of respect over towards Logic and that Vice setup, but hopefully learning from those mistakes, not letting time get the best of them as this attacking half moves on here for Evolution.
Now, it's a very expensive mistake, though, from Evolution early. Door closes at mid-market, and then it gets deleted. Oh, Logic, that's a bold peek, and it works out for first blood. So, Evolution about to play this one out 5v4, and they're still running into the face of a possible Steel Garden. Armageddon's close, Overdrive's close. There's really no other tools for Evolution to use here, so they're going to need to find a counter pick and then a very efficient and effective execute, depending on where they want to go.
I like this mid push coming in here from Evolution, though, taking that market control. The flash to get that additional information.
Wall tripped.
Wall gets proc. Logic in a little bit of trouble. Steel Garden to try to get some safety.
Heard the cross into the box.
Oh, nice Logic. Wow, what a double. Cal following up. Absolutely no worries. But that's just another impressive moment from Logic, who has had a really good map to this point.
Oh, Logic has been such a pivotal playmaker here for Teddy Tactics. Again, like, just the respect that Evolution was giving over towards that Vice setup, that hold over towards back sight, alongside those smokes to assist there as well. And part of that even just being a cage that Gabby had thrown themselves. But overall, great looks from this team. Evolution, though, we've seen some nice plays coming out from them, too.
Yeah.
They deny that early aggression over towards B main. And out. Again, that mid pressure has been just so consistent for both these sides, whether it's been the re-clear from Teddy Tactics using that drone.
You have to force this, I think, if you're Evolution. That Gatecrash to go back. Razor Vine's called out. Salvo was called into that as well. So, some utility expended on the defensive front.
Tony's down.
Spike still not leading because it's down on the ground back by Spawn. And whoa. Gabby just gonna
I like
hit.
that use.
I like that though. Hit the wall, hit the cyber cage,
Yeah.
force attention away.
Just providing that additional cover to ensure that you can get it without getting picked off. And then now you see the rotations being pulled over with that alone too, but
Wow.
what is going on?
That's a 1v1 for Nova. That's going to keep the defense moving around just a touch. And now Gabby. No, doesn't get the best of Kestrel. But why are we still peeking Nora?
30 seconds left.
Behind that, we're backing. Okay, just putting smoke down to cross. It feels really skittery right now for Evolution. They will get into sight. Salvo has been recharged to the defense. That's back out. Fault line cross is on the site. Armageddon will be called into that, but Zoe's able to find one on a Kestrel, so we get to a 3v3. No Rolling Thunder available yet, but one pick from Oranges would have them earned it. Here's the pick. Here's the opportunity. Dark cover fades. Cal Sushi for the first. Arcro's back out. Zoe able to find one trade. Showstopper right up close and personal. No! It misses! It misses everything! How does that whiff? It can't happen! Nora with the cloud!
Close.
Not gonna happen! Oh, what a complete disaster for Evolution!
Not while I'm.
I think it just got, I think, shot just behind
Yeah.
Oranges there. It's just so unfortunate, too, that you would have thought that round was going to go in favor of Evolution. There was great delay coming in, too, but I think skittery was the perfect way to put that shift. That's why we're seeing the timeout being called here from Evolution. Maybe just taking a beat for this team to regroup and come back to baseline. Sometimes when rounds are starting to slip away like that, comms can get a little bit cluttered. And tensions can rise high when it comes to like that energy, that adrenaline that you feel when you're playing one of those competitive matches.
Oh, that's just so tough. Just throw it at the feet. Should have been a freebie there for Zoe, but not happening. So now you take the timeout after the last 3 rounds have gone, well, really unfortunately against you. Rolling Thunder overdrive at the ready for Teddy Tactics. To be fair, like outside of a couple of members who have some solid pockets, like the money is not as great as you would assume for Teddy Tactics in 3 in a row. So there is an opportunity coming off this timeout for Evolution to get purchase and, you know, turn the eco around to try to swing this half back to their direction. But the couple of miscues and mispositions and just mistakes that have come through in the last 3 rounds, you know, you have to settle in here if you're Evolution.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think right now, too, is just Teddy Tactics have been really good at mid-rounding and getting an idea of what Evolution are trying to pull off, because it's been either, okay, fine, logic setup, go in the opposite direction, or take out that wall early on and maybe try to hit over towards where that B wall was.
All you do is fault line overdrive. Paint shells has Kestrel low. No trade though. Again, this is actually just a little bit of a purchase. Here for Evolution. Really? Frenzy in? Why not? And Evolution is now stuck in spawn. Literally, they're stuck in spawn. So this is the spot. Can you find any damage and repurchases? But no. Cal. Good for 2. And there's nowhere to go. That will be flawless. And 6-2 up for Teddy Tactics. And now all of a sudden that eco looks a little bit more significant.
Yeah, it definitely does. I think right now that's a pretty classic response to a timeout to be called by the other team. I wouldn't have necessarily expected them to just like rip that aggression on an eco, but I guess it does work too, because you catch Evolution off guard. But usually, you know, the opposing team who doesn't call the timeout might try and take control of the tempo. That's something that you see pretty often, and it pans out really nicely there for Teddy Tactics. And now this is where we see the set plays that Evolution was talking about during that attack.
Got there for the oranges. Altucci picks it up. Not able to get the second this time. Armageddon to clear out elbow, or is it? Good trade from Gabby. 3v2. Logic and Kestrel have to work their way back in for what would have to be a retake. This is a very deep post-plant setup here for Evolution with that spike position.
You're so aware of the fact that Norabor is probably on top of the
One enemy remaining.
Running down the fast line, though, doesn't work for Kestrel. Nora not needed in this one. Evolution snap back a quick 3rd round in total. I mean, it's one of those things like that. That one's great to have, because now you got a dimensional drift in the mix. There's nothing to really counter it. And if you can get this to 6-4, you're feeling really good about your opportunity to maybe 7-5 the half. With things like, you know, maybe a showstopper can get re-earned if you get some orbs. But it's just, again, like that stretch of 3 rounds in particular, those 5, 6, and 7, those were rounds that Evolution are kicking themselves in, because they were winnable rounds that they just weren't able to really clean up.
Definitely difficult in that regard. Again, the clone comes out, but I love that Kestrel is playing up close there, just denying that clone from any value and trying to trigger that Vice wall early on with the shear, and then forcing someone else to have to bait it out with their body. The aggression on the other side of the map coming out here from Arya.
Okay. Little trap set play. Ends in a 4v4 situation. Smokes are down for both teams. So we'll see what that means in terms of how you want to execute, in particular here if you're Evolution. The big question is, with no smokes, do you just want to pull this right back over to B, see if you can test? I don't know if Nova has seen that there's no shear wall here at the front doors, but you're going to dimensional drift in. Get all the information you can possibly want. Ooh, that's a lot of info off the arc rose, though. Dimensional rose does come through. How? Logic still able to find one. Kestrel trying to play bodyguard. There's the flash. Nova pops out of the ultimate. Logic still alive in the back of the site. Salvos to delay the plant a little while longer as Cal tries to work their way in, but Logic still goes unchecked. Cal back into the mix. Leaves Zoe by themselves for a 1v2.
Now it's just buying time for the flank to come in here for Oranges to clean this one up, and nailing the coffin here for Teddy Tactics, putting Evolution down in that round. And it's all with Logic being such a solid anchor on that B site. The fact that they were able to stay alive for so long, even to find a second after having so much damage done. You got the scouting that was done by that dimensional drift that you were singing high praise about earlier on, and what impact it could have for the side of Evolution. But man, Teddy Tactics are looking very clinical right now on defense.
Logic has come up so clutch for Teddy Tactics defensively. And I like the idea of this. You haven't shown mid-aggression in a while, so why not try it here? But trade is out once again, so 4v4 we go. Neon for Yoru is that exchange. Steel Garden at the ready for the defense. Showstopper at the ready for the attack.
Knurls have to give that additional information over to Evolution out here as well. Try to get the paint shells to push Hal off this angle, and gonna have to fall all the way back. Sorry, into spawn.
That one won't miss. Zoe does take a lot of damage. Cyber Cage, as soon as this falls, his Orange is in a position to try to do anything to this and steps up to at least find one.
That timing.
Yeah, I'll say. Makes this doable. Again, I mean,
It does.
2v3, and you've got a possible point of contact here. Arya, no, doesn't expect Zoe to be watching. And now you've got a free A-site post plant, 1v3.
I mean, if anyone's going to be able to do it, Logic has been the player that's been on a heater so far for Teddy Tactics, but at the same time, yeah, it might not be worthwhile. You look at the money situation here for the side of Teddy Tactics. Sure, most players will be able to afford, but with Arya only having that 500 in the bank, it's more of an expectation to be able to throw a gun over later on. And now it's just buying time into this. So at least for Evolution, now they're starting to chain these rounds together, right? You were talking about that possibility of ending this half 5-7, and they're starting to build that momentum a little bit.
Yep. A touch. Again, if you can get 5, you're going to feel really good about, again, picking up and following off of some of the mistakes that were made in the middle of this half. But on the flip side, 8-4 for Teddy Tactics would feel mighty fine. So we'll see what we get here. Armageddon at the ready, Steel Garden still ready to go as well for the defense. And nothing else you would figure will be earned from the attacking point of view outside of just from the shadows, which is kind of is what it is.
Yeah, that alt economy definitely looking to favor Teddy Tactics into this round, that's for sure. Got the shear set up, and so the trap over towards Elbow here as well. Just buying time to allow them to fall back.
I'm surprised they used that just to get forward at B. Now again, Steel Garden will be used when they try to crunch onto this site. It just comes down to where do you spend it and how much of Evolution get caught by it. Because they're not able to scale deep. There's the plant for Cloudsies. Everyone's on site. What did they pick this up? This could be huge. Oh, mercy. No Steel Garden. That's supposed to be used for the crunch. And now you gotta do it the hard way. Oranges for 2. But weak. 3v3. Are you able to find one more? Fault line out. And you're going to just play this post plant from behind this dark cover. A second one gets placed. There's the salvos. Arya doesn't get on top of the boxes. I think that was what they were attempting to do. Cloud just gets one of the cross. And now the Armageddon's at the ready. Pushes him forward. Arya gets the kill.
Well,
time?
No,
it's going to be tight.
No, they got it. 100% they got it.
100% is crazy.
I guarantee you that they have it. 0.86, you got to trust me on the shift. I know my timings for those defuses, but really nicely played into the retake there from Teddy Tactics because, man, I think Evolution had a great idea with how they were trying to push over into Alley there, deny a bit of that space into the retake, and even some of that post-plant util that was being thrown down as well. But the way that Oranges was just so clutch in getting that 2K over towards Elbow, then on top of that, layering the utility for Arya to find success on that A-short crunch was stunning.
Well, let's reset, because wow, what a half.
There's no fight left in them now.
They're looking good.
Yeah, I'll say. Here we go again. Some mid-aggression. Kestrel with pistol already through. Salvos are deep. Yeah, and that's wow. I don't think Gabby would have expected that.
Definitely not.
No.
Cypher setup just like completely nullified there as well. That's why we had Evolution gambling over towards, or not gambling, but you know, stacking over towards that A side, right? Expecting that Cypher utility to give them a bit of a earlier heads up, but not going to be the case here.
Well, here comes the retake attempt. Couple of tags through screens here at market. Right clicks are largely missing. Logic eventually falls. Orange is backing up, trying to again play with time. Kestrel shoulders not going to be there. Wow! And for a 4v5 to find what is a post plant that's all over the site that quickly and that cleanly is surprising. And a huge pistol bounce back for Evolution to keep us within 3.
Really well done from Evolution. I think for Teddy Tactics, overextending a little bit in that post plant as well. Usually you either have control of Boba or Market. They opted for a 2-2 on both, which isn't a bad idea when you're trying to play some sort of crossfire, util for each other as well. But the fact that Evolution were retaking from Market Door as well as CT, there was a great paranoia that came out from Nora Bora that disrupted that entire trap play in the post plant.
Oh, yeah. No aggression this round. Not with 2 snipers in the mix. And it'll be a very early 5v3. Nova trying to get isolated. Marshall shot lands again for another. Defense still has the trap wire in place just in case there is some sort of a gut check play forward. But, yeah, dark cover is out. Trap wire is going to have to be deleted first, and there's a crossfire here.
Destroyed.
Outlaw will double tap it out. Gabby's still waiting to see if anyone peeks, and this will be a relatively slow finish to this round, you would think, with just the 1 Marshall picked up for Logic.
Yeah, just looking to maybe do a little bit of damage as possible, even maybe poke over towards that A side, see if there's an orb that they could farm up just to make the most out of this eco on the side of Teddy Tactics, and just playing together here. I like that Evolution, though, are giving them the respect in this 4v2, right? They being down in counts when it comes to those rounds, they're looking to carry over as much as possible into these net round wins.
30 seconds left.
Logic had an opportunity there on his shoulder to Cloud, but doesn't land. Special delivery will slow things down again a little bit more, but again, everyone's here ready to go. So unless there's some crazy lineup situation where Logic just tees off on this cross at elbow, should be comfortable. First one's good. Hold on.
Last
Saw the
player
cross.
standing.
Ah, but you lost Cal Sushi. These shots are clean for Logic, continuing to be impressive, but running out of a time to try to stop the defusal, and Gabby is just going to throw shoulders, get the Spectre kill, and now we're within 2. The bonus will be pretty soft here for Evolution, you'd think, but still, a couple of critical rounds there for Evolution to tighten up this game again.
Yeah, not as comfortable as a bonus as we would have expected when it comes down to that 4v2 there, but overall for Evolution, you look at what they're going to bring to the table here with the Outlaw in hand. It's not going to be able to do a crazy amount considering that we will see heavy shields on everyone else, but that's why you see them all kind of clustered together, right? Hoping that the paint shells will do a bit of that chip damage. You've got the follow-up shots from the pistols as well within Cloud Z with his walk-up. It's quite the gamble there, assuming that nobody is there. I feel like Logic has gotten kind of lucky a couple of times, though. Like, I feel like there's been a few moments where we've seen that Boombot not actually fighting luck on those scans.
Flash out. Teddy stops the play. And looks like this bonus will falter pretty quickly here for Evolution. Not wanting to make any mistakes, though. Teddy Tactics taking their time, and yeah, they're just punishing here pretty much across the board. So it'll be a quick wrap over to B. It'll be a 5v2 post plant against Spectre and a Ghost. And if you can't take it by the candor in my voice, you don't feel very hopeful about pulling this back into Evolution.
Yeah, right now for Evolution, they're doing the damage that they can find, if any. And aware that Gabby's also going to be on this angle as well, right? And you've already got like Arya waiting, like lying in wait over towards mid. Gabby does end up making that push back down towards mid, but a flawless round, not going to be the case. Again, Logic started out with such a strong half on defense, continuing on with that firepower performance now, even heading into attack and trying for this team. And honestly, going toe-to-toe too, honestly, with Zoe and Gabby. But it just hasn't quite been enough for those rounds to come together for Evolution. Granted, that was their bonus round, though, at the very least.
Okay. Steel Garden Armageddon already primed and ready to go for Teddy Tactics. 5-man approach to beam enemy. There's the Steel Garden. I don't think any of the defense is really going to be caught by that. Trapwire actually slows down Kestrel a touch. But do you follow up with the Armageddon all the way deep into B elbow here? Like, you really well could. Just keep your focus on playing over towards market, but instead it'll be a plant on the side of the site. Salvo out will not really deter the setup. Stealth drone gets deleted immediately, and the post plant will get back into B main. This is a tough breakdown here for Evolution. Showstopper could be, and maybe needs to be, utilized to break this open.
It's great paranoia, the Showstopper you're talking about.
The stun comes through, Arya catches two, and Zoe just blindly fires it to nobody. And this retake has been ineffective. No, but you get that to halfway, maybe, but I don't think it's gonna make a difference. Yeah, not with 30 HP left. Zoe will find 3 in total, but yeah, that post plant. I mean, when Arya gets 2 from in the back of the site like that, it's just you have no hope. You have no hope.
No, you're kind of just like getting funneled on site there as well, right? Just the crossfires that are being set up, and again, the idea was there, I think, in the retake here for Evolution, but the layers of utility that we've seen come out from Teddy Tactics has been, I think, an edge up over the combos that you can see coming out from Evolution. And part of that does have to do with like the utility kits that are available to them in these comps, the fact that you can layer that breach on top of the Teho, and like we were saying, layer the breach on top of the Teho, I guess, being able to take Gabby down right off the gate. But I don't even know if there was a stun paired with that.
I don't know if there was either. I didn't see one, but I don't know.
Gabby may have just been on cam, and then it maybe was sitting in it unaware.
Very well could have been, but after a half in the first that we kind of look at and say, you know, a couple of unfortunate mistakes or errors from Evolution, this second half outside the pistol and the follow-up has been very comfortable for Teddy. I think, you know, you really assert that sentence when you look at how that retake went awry. You know, this round is a you know, a partial buy situation, but it's just when Teddy gets full weapons in their hands, they're looking really clean. Like, legitimately, they're finding good efficiency. Again, you've got Logic playing extremely well. That's helped a ton, but I don't know. It feels like their executes are well put together, and they're making good adjustments when they lose a member or they get an opening trade. It puts them to a 4v4. Like, they still look good in low number situations.
Yeah, they really do. I think it just does come down to a lot of those moments where, again, you see those synergies coming through.
Done. Follow-up Revolution, solid here. Whoa, Zoe. Oh, boy.
Not again.
Oh, boy. That one hurts. But enough trades to allow Evolution to still hold the numbers 4v2. Why? Why? Armageddon's going to push Oranges out into the dark cover. When you're down 5 rounds in a 4v2, I just don't think you need to use the Armageddon there.
I think just moments of trying to close it out. I think that also says a lot for the respect that they're giving over to Teddy Tactics as well. In those moments, maybe a bit too much respect. And now you see even this mid control coming out for Evolution. So they have the know. They have the info. They're aware of the fact that Teddy Tactics are still going to be stuck over towards B main.
You can't lose this round if you're Evolution. You can't.
30 seconds left.
On Oranges, after that orb pickup, now has a Rolling Thunder. Timing on this. Oh my goodness. What are we talking about? That can't happen. It can't. Logic's gonna get the plant in the back corner. They've seen Gabby. Rolling Thunder. It affects. You get the free pick. It also hits the second. You saw the shoulder. Oh no. Not like this. Not a 4v2. Not an iBUYPOWER ace. It can't happen like that.
Hey, you were asking why they used the Armageddon earlier. That is why. I mean, we were talking about Logic being the one that was frying. Orange is stepping up to the plate with the ace to come out to get match point here for Teddy Tactics, but it's because Teddy Tactics have looked terrifying so far on Sunset. Again, there have been so many layers, so many different combinations of utility that have been coming through and been able to pick apart these fights for Evolution, not really giving Evolution the opportunity to play together in the way that they would want to. They're getting caught out with some of those positions and whatnot, because Teddy Tactics have been incredibly dynamic with where they're throwing that util, changing it up here and there, making it a lot harder for Evolution to guess on that conditioning and making it very difficult for them to find comfortable places to be playing on these sites.
Oof. Well, Ash, this one feels like it's just a matter of time. Teddy Tactics clutching up, and I think most importantly, this is something that I think we say a lot, you know, when it comes to like the mid-level of challengers. It extends into game changers, obviously, and places like CVAL as well. It's just like you just cannot afford to make mistakes at that density at this level. And you know, good teams will not make that many mistakes. Like, you know, the battle of like two good teams, like it just comes down to sometimes who makes less mistakes. But in this one, it's a great team punishing Evolution for the mistakes that they're making, and they look really good here on Sunset. Kestrel sees the barrel of one, isolate with the relay. Good follow-up though from Evolution at range, and this is just Teddy Tactics saying, we'll just take a square up here. Do you want to see if we can just win the game off this? Sure, why not? And well, that doesn't work out. But
Nice shots too.
You wouldn't expect this route.
No, you definitely wouldn't. And you look at how they're looking to play together here as well. There's the awareness of where they're expecting Arya to come from. You still have that trip over at B main. You had the cam there as well. I like this double up. And knife out. Yeah. Maybe a little too confident. I think the expectation from Arya there was not for Evolution to have actually pushed back into market. I think that she probably thought they had maybe walked out mid to try and maintain control of that spike, considering the fact that, you know, there was no From the Shadows available to pick it up and get that plant down. But nice read there from Evolution.
Weapons back into play. Dimensional Drift at the ready. And it did feel like Teddy Tactics were like, oh, we're going to get a couple of gunfights at mid. Let's just see who shoots better. Maybe we win the map that way. Nova pushed a little bit back in towards market as mid is another focus point here for Teddy Tactics off the barriers dropping. Arya inside of the one-way smoke. 3 members of Evolution around the corner. Do you expect this? Oh, no. 1-for-1 is fine. You know, you've got numbers now for Teddy Tactics back over. Plus the sheer wall. Will proxy. You know there's a flank on the way. Gabby needs to get 2 here. Honestly, you need 2. But Teddy Tactics going to try to play through B main to stop this flank. And Gabby's going to be able to sit here a little while longer. Do you catch one of the exit? You sure do. Do you get a second? No. Orange with the trade. And now it's just down to where the battle would be anticipated to come from. Fast lane to block for a moment. Overdrive out. There's the aftershock to follow with it. Here comes the play forward. Cloudsy gets 1. Zoe holding off another. And Logic, nothing. Evolution are still alive. And after what was a round that was kind of a, well, we'll just battle you at mid, see what happens. Now you kind of give away a post plant because you're again choosing to take the battle at B main instead of trying to play the post plant deep.
There's a nice re-clear into B main coming out from Teddy Tactics into that post plant, but at Evolution, a lot of that retake also just relied on Gabby being so patient in backside, no one on Teddy Tactics looking to clear back of B, and being able to even just get 1 in that situation and cause that kind of additional chaos for the rest of Evolution to take advantage. But it coming down to those gunfights now, into this round, for the side of Teddy Tactics, their money is starting to slowly run out. And this is where Evolution, they want to have a strong round 21.
Yep.
If they can manage to stave off that win from Teddy Tactics, to ensure that their economy is also healthy fighting back into this, because both these teams in a very similar situation when it does come down to those credits right now.
Logic will find first blood, though. It's isolated over towards B main. Paranoia out for Nora.
The mist.
You're absolutely right. Dimensional drift is still at the ready. Nova is first. Gate crashes back to safety. Defense also has the ability to pivot Gabby in quickly. Decent read here from Nora on that jump peak. Rolling Thunder. It's going to affect most of the site. Op shot misses. The teleport also red. And Arya will get onto site. Now it's on to Gabby. Can you find a way, maybe a piece of timing, to win a 1v1? Nova stays safe away from the Razor and counter flashes the Arc Rose. But how do you reopen this site? You have to dimensional drift it, you think? And here we go.
Yeah, scouting.
Now you know the high lows
nice
there,
response.
but that's a really good special delivery from Teddy. And it's only on to one more. Cloud Z will drop 13-8. Teddy Tactics will take their map selection.